Yeah, I will share my screen and
Sure.
we'll get started. Just 1 second. So let me know once you see my screen.
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Yeah, awesome. So hello everyone. My name is Ankit, and today we will be learning about Angular forms. And today we will be learn what are Angular forms, how we can use it, and we'll see how we can create Angular forms for our applications. So let me start by introducing myself. My name is Ankit. I am an author and a speaker, and I am currently staying in Hyderabad and working with ADP as senior member technical. And I am a GD for Angular. You can also tweet me at Ankit Sarma _007. And also my blog address is ankitsarmablogs.com, where I write article and you can read articles on various platform, various technologies such as Angular, Blazor, ASP.NET Core. So let's go through the agenda of today's session. So today we will be talking about forms. What are forms? What are different kind of forms? So in this, I am not sure what is this. Why and Gauko is requesting control. Okay. So I'm not sure why someone else is requesting control. Okay.
Oh, sorry about
So
that, Ankit. Sorry about that.
yeah. So yes. Let me continue. So today we will be talking about the forms, and in Angular we have two type of form: reactive forms and template-driven forms. We will be talking about them. Then we will also talk about form validation. What are the different kind of validation we can have in forms? And also we will have a code demo, and also we'll learn how to create a forms. So the first question is, what is form? So form is something a UI control or UI what you say input. It's a UI control which allows us to handle user inputs. So you guys have seen forms in most of the website which you use daily, and it allows us to have a login or enter some information or perform some data entry tasks. So whenever you go to any website, you have to log in or you have to register, then you are using a form to enter your data. Then you click on submit button. So that is that is a functionality of a form. And also a well-designed form is very important for a great user experience on any website. So if the form is not designed good, it does not have all the proper validation or proper input controls, then the user will not feel happy about the website. So some of the common example of forms are registration form, login forms, and forms such as you get when you place some online order, book flights, book hotels, etc. So some of the example I can show here, which you guys, everybody see in their daily life, such as YouTube. So when you go to YouTube and search for something, some videos, so this search box is a form. It has just one control, and it has a one button, which is search button. So here I am showing an example on the screen. So this form contains only one field, one input field and one button to search from the list of all the videos on YouTube. Then you have this form which most of you guys are using, that is of Facebook. And here you can see on the top we have the login form, and at the bottom we have the registration form. So in this form we have more than one fields. So we have, for example, in login form we have email ID and password field, and in the create an account form we have name, first name, last name, mobile number, password, and also different various kind of controls like radio button, drop down list. So all kind of controls are inside a form. So here so this is a Facebook form, and you have multiple kind of controls over here. Then this form, which you all guys know, this is the form for where you have filled the registration for this particular event. So this is the Angular forms where if you guys have used Angular form, you know that we can customize the form as our requirement. If you want an email address field, if you want a country field, name field, radio button, it allows you, it gives you control over the type of form you want to use and type of controls you want to use. And here you can see all fields are required, marked required. So this is a kind of validation. So if you control on submit button without filling any value in the field, then you will get an error. So these are different kind of form functionality which we see in our daily life. So that is why Angular provides us two kind of mechanism or two different kind of forms out of the box, like Angular from the Angular framework. The first is reactive forms and another one is template driven forms. So reactive forms is also called model forms. So we'll see about them one by one. So first is reactive forms. So reactive forms provides a model-driven approach to handle the input from the user and where the value changes over the time. So reactive forms are immutable, which means the objects cannot be changed, and reactive forms use an explicit and immutable approach to manage the state of a form at any given point of time. And whenever we change the state or change the value in a reactive form, so it will always return a new state, which help us to maintain the integrity of the model or between the changes. So we will see these reactive forms in action in latter part of this session. And also reactive forms are built around observable stream, where inputs are provided as input value and it can be accessed synchronously. So it provides you synchronous access to the values in the form. Reactive forms are robust, scalable and reusable, and it is very easy to test. So you can easily unit test the reactive forms. If you have very large scale application, reactive forms are recommended to use that, and you can always reuse the functionality of reactive forms. And reactive forms uses functions for custom validation. So what does this means is that so every form provides you different kind of validation. So if you have to write some custom validation which is not provided out of the box, in that case you can use functions and to get that custom validations. So we will be seeing these custom validations in action when we go for the demo later. Next we have template driven forms. So template driven form is built using component template. So you know in Angular in a component we have 4 files. One is a template, one is the component file, one is the test file, and another is the style file. So component template driven forms is entirely built in your template file or the HTML file, we can say. And it uses ng model to create the two-way data binding for reading and writing the control values. And so whenever we have to share data from the form to our component, the ng model is used for data binding. And we have template reference variable, which is used to share the data from one HTML element to another HTML element. So we will also see this in action when we go for the demo, how we use template reference variable to share information across HTML elements. And for custom validation, it uses directives. So in case of reactive form, we saw that we can use functions for custom validation. But in case of template driven form, we have to use directive for the custom validation. So this here we are seeing the building blocks of a form. So how the form is built in Angular. So these controls are provided by Angular framework. So first of them is form control. It is used to track the value and validation status of any individual form control. So inside the form, we have multiple kind of controls. For example, text box, select field, drop down list, radio button, those kind of, those are called form control. So for every form control, we have to track the value and the validation status that is tracked by this form control property. Similarly, we have form group, which is used to track the value and status for a collection of form control. So name itself is a form group. So it will look at a collection when we have more than one form control. Then we have form array. So it used to track the values and status for an array of form control. Here we are having if we have an array of form control, then we will use the form array. And finally, we have control value accessor. So it creates a bridge between Angular form control and native DOM element. So this means when we have to talk to the form control and DOM elements like div, input, select, then we can use control value accessor to communicate between them. Now we'll talk about the validations. So before I proceed for validation, I will pause for a minute and I want to ask if anyone of you have any questions, please ask. Okay, I take this as a no, and then I will proceed for the discussion on validations. So Angular forms provides So first question is why validations are required. So validations are required to make sure that whatever the data which you have entered in the form is correct, and it is as per your business logic. So for example, when you are entering a password, so you have to enter some special characters, you have to enter number, you have to enter alphabets, all of them. So that is your business logic. So when you enter the data in the form, you have to make sure that the user enters the password in that particular format only. So for those kind of scenario, we use validations. So if you don't use the validation, then what problem occur is that user can enter any kind of data, and when we send those data back to our APIs, the APIs will fail because they will not get the data which they are expecting. So that is why form validations are required to keep our form clean and to get the data which we are expecting, which the application is expecting. So in Angular, we have two kind of validation. First is inbuilt validation, so which has properties like max length, required, field, email, and etc. Pattern validators. These kind of inbuilt validators are provided by Angular, which means if we have to check for max length, for example, if I want a user to fill like 6 characters or 10 characters in a field, then I can restrict the user using the max length property. Similarly, required property. So required means the field is required, you have to fill. So as I showed you the example with Angular Kenya form, which you guys have filled to attend the today's session, all the fields are required. Similarly, required field. Third, we have email field, which will check if you have entered the correct email value. So it will check for the email pattern, which is something @ something.com or dot something. So that is a email pattern. Then comes the custom validation. So there are some scenarios which we need password match. So if we have password field and confirm password field, so we need to make sure that whatever the user enters in those field should be same. That's when we come with the custom validation. So custom validation can be anything which your application required, which your application logic required. So here for today's demo, I will be using two kind of custom validation. One is password match, where we will have two fields, and user will enter the data in both of the field, and we will see if the data entered in both the fields are same or not. And second one is username not available. So this is a very common scenario when you guys are registering for the Gmail account or any email account. You can see that whenever you enter the username, it will check if the username is unique or not. So this is a kind of custom validation. So today we will see how we can do this kind of validation, where we will allow the user to register for only those username which are available, which are unique in the database. Okay. So next we'll go for a demo. Demo of what we are going to build today. So this app is hosted at this website. I am not sure if I can share this in chat or somehow. Can someone help me if I can share this in chat or somewhere? Can I share this link in chat?
Yeah, there's a text message icon there on your tab. So show conversation.
Okay, I am not sure. I think okay. I don't think I can find that. Let me check if I can find that. Here it is saying chat in the channel is available to team members only. I think this is not available for me.
Okay, let me give you access to that.
Yeah, please give me the access. I will paste in the chat so everyone can access this form and experience can use that in real time and experience what we are going to build.
So I've done that.
Okay. Still, I am seeing the same message.
Wow.
Maybe you can ping me like you can ping me message hello or something. We can see if I get the message.
So
I don't think I have the access to this.
okay, I can just type the URL as you go on, I guess.
Okay,
Yes.
that will, but yeah, but that will be difficult for you. But anyway, so this is the URL ng-forms-validation.herokuapp.com. So I have shared. Okay, there is one more link. Maybe you can take a screenshot. You can take a screenshot of this page. So these are the resources link. You take a screenshot and then you can share this with all the attendees after this call. So they can go and explore the things in detail. So at the top, you can see the GitHub link of the repository which we are going to build today. The second link is the live demo link. Third link is my blog link where you can read blogs which I write. And third is the last one is the official Angular documentation for the forms. So you may take the screenshot and and you can talk to you can share this with everyone. Will that work?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So I will move on. I think you have taken the screenshot.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So let's see the demo first. So this is a Angular reactive form. So let's see what happens if I click on register. This is a registration form where here I have 5 fields: name, email, username, password, and confirm password. So let me click register and see what happens. So as soon as I click on register, you can see that there is a message everywhere that fields are required. So this means all the fields are required. So let me type a name, Ankit. Once I type the name, that message is gone. As I type the name, message is gone. Next question is email is required. Let me type some random characters here. And when I move the cursor over here, you can see it is saying that enter a valid email address. So here we have a email validator. So I have to type a email in a particular format only, like this. Then username. Username is required. Now, if I type username as admin and tab, it will give an error, username is not available. So I have to use something like this, admin underscore 1. Okay. Then we have password. So password is required. Let me type password 1 2 3 4 5 6. As I type, you can see it is giving me error that password should have minimum 8 characters, at least 1 uppercase, 1 lowercase, and 1 number. So let me follow that. So the error is gone. Now I type some password over here. As soon as I move the control outside, it will say passwords do not match. I have to type what the password I have written over here. And once I click on register, if the form is valid, I will get this message. So for this demo example, I am not using any API or any backend. Everything is on the client side only. And here it is saying that form submitted successfully. Check the values in console. Right click, inspect. And if you go to console, you can see the values over here, what I have entered. So the password, email, name, username, everything. Okay. So similarly, we have template driven forms. So the controls for template driven forms are also same. So I'm not going to show you that because it will be the exact same thing. Now I will move on to the coding part and we will see how we can create this application. And we'll start with reactive forms first. So I have already started the application. This is running on local host. You can see here. So this is the home page where we have a static message, welcome to Angular Forms demo. And in the navigation bar, we have two links, one for reactive form, another is from template form. So this here for styling, I'm using Bootstrap. So I think you guys are aware of Bootstrap. It's a CSS library which gives you nice CSS controls for a nice look and feel for your application. I'm using that for the designing. And here I have designed nav bar. And here is the home link where you can see the static message. So this home and nav bar are very verbose thing which we are not going to talk about. We are going to talk about the forms part. So let's start with the reactive forms. So here is my reactive form component. So let me start with the component file over here. So let's see and okay. So let's see what we have here. So here I have imported validators, form group and form builder from the Angular form module. So this is required to build our reactive form. So let's see how we are building that. So first here in the constructor, we have injected a form builder service, and inside ng on init, we are creating our form. So we have a variable of type form group. So I told you earlier that form group is one of the property, one of the class provided, which gives you a collection of or a group of form controls. So here we are initializing that. So this dot fb dot group, and here we are initializing the controls inside the form. So here you can see we have the 5 controls as we have discussed: name, email, username, password, and confirm password. So name, email, username, password, and confirm password. And for each of them, I am telling the system that what are the things we require. So the first part is default value. So here default value is empty. When the page is launched, when the form is launched, you should not show anything in that field. Then validators dot required. So here validator class is a class provided which provides a set of built-in validators to be used for the form controls. So if you are using Visual Studio Code, and when you hover your mouse cursor over this class name, you can see that the description it is saying that it is this class is doing. So it provides the built-in validators. So built-in validator is required. So this means this name field is required. Similarly, we have email. So email field is required. Then username and password. So in username, you can see that we have validators that are required. Along with that, I am passing something called custom validator dot username validator. So what is this? Let's see. So I have a custom validation service. So I told you that for any custom validation, we have to write our own code or our own logic, because that is not provided by the Angular framework. So here I am using, can you please mute? There is some disturbance in the line. So here you can see we have username validator. So let's see how this works. So if you go to this method username validator, here you can see that I am getting an input of type abstract control, which is the control name. So this will here I am binding that particular control. So this is the this dot custom validator, and this will pass this particular control name, which is username. So it will pass this control to this method, and it will return a promise. And here I am checking from the method validate username. So if validate username returns true, I will resolve the promise and set the value username not available property to true, else I will return null. And I have used set timeout function to do this every 1 second. Now what this validate username method does? So validate username method will check from a list of username. So ideally this should have been a service call to the server to search the values in database. But for the sake of simplicity, I have hard coded these values. So this means if I try to register with any of these 4 username, it will return false and it will not allow the user to register. So that's why this Ankit, admin, user, super user, these 4 names are restricted to be used for registration. Similarly for password, here we are having a compose validator or compose method. So what this compose method will do, that it will combine multiple validators into one function and then return the combination of result. So here I am passing two validator. One is required. This means this password field is required. Another one is that custom validator dot pattern validator method I am calling. So it will check for the pattern. So if you remember, when we tried to enter the password, we got an error message that it should have at least 8 character, one uppercase and one lowercase. So how I am checking that? Using a regular expression over here. So I have a pattern validator method which return a validator function, and it will take the abstract control. It will take the abstract control as the input as argument, and it will use a regular expression to check the value. So this particular regular expression, you can easily find it on internet. There are various websites available which will help you to create a regular expression. So I got this regular expression from those websites. Which it will check if the character should be, if your password should be minimum 8 character in length, it has at least one uppercase, one lowercase, and one number. And if the regular expression test is passed, it will set the property invalid password to true, else it will set null. Now at this point of time, you have seen we have set two properties. One invalid password to true, here invalid password property, and in case of username, we have set username not available property. So where we are going to use this property? We'll see when we go to the form controls in our HTML. We will use it there. So when we'll go to HTML, you can see how we are using it there. Then we have a confirm password field. So in case of confirm password, it is just showing that it is validator or required. Now the question comes is, we have to match the password from password field and confirm password field. So for that, I have set an extra property here, validator, and here I am calling the match password method, which I have defined in custom validator function. And here I am passing those two fields. So this name password is this control, password control, and this confirm password is this password control name. So it will call the match password function, and match password function will take two input as we have passed. One the password field, another is confirm password field, and it is pretty straightforward. Once we got to those two field, we'll create the form group controls, and we will check here. First is the password control and confirm password control should not be empty, and it should not have any other errors. Means it should have any other errors, means it should not have any very required field errors. And then at end we are checking if they are not equal, then set the password mismatch property to true. So here we are setting the third property. So you have understood, we are setting invalid password property for if the password does not match our regular expression. We are setting password mismatch property if the password in two fields are not matching. And we are setting username not available property if username is not available from our list of username. We are going to use these three properties in our HTML template to do the validation. Now we have a register form control method. So once we have created our form, we have to register it. So this is the method register form.controls. It will return our form controls. So we'll see how we will use this property. And this is on submit method. So once we click on submit button, it will directly put the things in console. So let's move to the HTML part, and we'll see how now you are able to connect all the dots and see how our controls or how our custom validators which we have defined is going to be used here. So at this point of time, you can see that I have used some styles, bootstrap styles, to create a card header, a card, and inside card header I have set some text Angular reactive form. Then I have a form tag here, and this is a type form. This is from bootstrap, and here you can see I am binding a form group property of the form to the name register form. Now this register form, this name register form should be the same name which you have defined over here. So that is how our form here, the form which we have created here, is going to bind to our form controls here using this name. So using this form group property, we are binding that. and on ng submit we are calling the on submit method, which we have defined over here, on submit method. At this point of time, this has only one field, so the label is name, input, it is an input, and here you can see the name is form control name, and the value I have given as the name. So now you are going to see that from where this name, this form control names come. So this means now here using form group, I have bind my whole form to this register form property, but now I have to bind each property from register form to each control inside our form. So that is where we use form control name. So this form control equals to name means this particular input field should bind to the name property inside our register form. So this word name should match this word here. So if I put name underscore 1 here, then I have to update this also to name underscore 1. So that is how we are binding the form control name. Then I have used a span to show the message, error message. So I'm using ngif directive to check if register form control dot name dot touched. Now register form control, where is this? Here, register form control. So this method will return all your form control. So register, so this is a get method. This will return all your form. So when I call the inputs are inside that text box and then click outside. That is meaning of touched. You focus and then unfocus the text box. That is meaning of the touched. Touched or submit. When you, either it is touched or submit, and register form control dot name required field error. So where we are setting this here in the validators dot required. So that is how it is going to bind. So if this condition matches to true, we are going to see the name. I will get this method. Why? Because this property will fail. Because register form control dot name dot errors dot required will fail. Okay, because I have not put anything here. Now I will put something. Let's say Ankit. Now it will pass once I click on register. Okay, it will not give me error because it will not one field define fields also. So similarly, we'll add other fields. So let me add other fields. This is the second field I have added. So here you can see that email field has been added. So how this email field is working? So here we, the label is email, similar to the input field. Here I am putting input and we are binding the form control to email. Where is the email? Here. Here I am binding to email. First is the same is the required field. So this is same as what we have for the name field. Register form control dot name dot touch dot submit. Similarly, we have register form control dot email dot touch or submit, which means if we touch the email field, it will return an error. But here you can see there is an extra error message, which is for email pattern. So here I am checking if register form control email dot error dot email. So if the error type is email, this means it fails to check the email correct email address format. It will return this error, and we'll see a enter a valid email address error. So let's see. So once I focus, I click outside, it will give me error. So this means this touch property is failed because I have touched and click outside. So I am getting error. Now I click some random value and click outside. Click on register. Okay, name is required. I click on register. Okay, it should give me and even I'm not sure why it is not giving an error. It should give an email required error. Let me check quickly if I am missing something here. I was missing this here. So yes. So sorry guys, I missed this line here. I was doing some changes and I missed this line. So since we are defining an email field, so along with required, you have to define the inbuilt validator, which is just type email. So that's why I have included validators.email. So once you click validators.email, and now you can see it is giving the error, enter a valid email address. So something ankit@gmail.com. Now it is working. And same with name field, we have to give some value. Now let's see some third property. The third property is username. Now again it is same label input, and input is binding to the username form control, and here username is required. It is same as the other places of the required field error. Now you can see there is second validation is username not available. So the first part here is username is touched or username has error, username not available. So you remember where we set this property? We set here in custom field validator. So here. So if this particular method is called and it fails over here, username not available, then this property is being bind to this particular user control, this particular form control, and if that is set to true, then we will get this username not available error message. So let's say I put Ankit and click outside. So since Ankit is already available, it is giving me error that username is not available because this name is already taken. So you can see here the word Ankit is in this particular list. That is why it is giving me error. So if I write something like Ankit Sharma, it will not give me that error because this is not in this particular list. So that is how we are using the property username not available, which we have set while calling the username validator. Now let's see. So don't get confused here. I have some code snippets which I have created just so that I have the fast everything. So these are custom code snippets which I created. You can also create. Just Google it. You will find how to create custom code snippet. It is for presentation and all. So here we have. Okay, I think I did some mistake. I have to write it here. Fourth field. So fourth field is password field. So again, you have a label. Anybody has any question?
Your connection seems to be quite a little bit inconsistent with the video, so you find that you are a little bit fast ahead than the screen share. So maybe like maybe try stopping sharing, then you share again. We see what that can do, because there's been that lag for like 1 minute now. It's still moving on forward. So you find that when you finish saying something, it's when it's going back to something that you had done a demo for.
Okay, so you are saying that the screen share has a lag?
Yeah, it has a little bit of a lag. Yeah.
Okay. So I will go a bit slow so that you guys can catch up. No problem. Thanks for information. So here we have input type as password, so that the values are masked. That's why we are using input type as password, and we are binding it to form control name password. So which we have the form control password. Now here we have two kind of validation. One is password required validation, which is similar to other fields. It will check if the field is touched and submitted, and it will also check if it has a required field validation error. Then it will check for password is, it will throw us the password is required error message. Next is the special custom validation which we have put for the password, which is to check the type of values in password using regular expression. So here it is similar to the username validation. Here you can see that we have used invalid password property. So if you remember, we have set this invalid password property in our class, sorry, in our service. And here you can see inside match password method, here we are setting the password mismatch to true. So this is how, if this particular method is called match password, and if this password match will fail, then in this case, this password mismatch is set to true. At that point of time, check will fail. So let's see on the screen. If some random characters and click outside error, that password should have minimum 8 characters, at least one uppercase, one lowercase, and one number. So let me type one uppercase, one lowercase, one character, and one number. As soon as I type 8 characters, it is checking on every button click. As soon as I finish that validation, the error is gone. If I delete one character, the error will come again because I have failed the minimum 8 character requirement over here. So that is how this password field is working. Finally, okay, I did a mistake. I need to type confirm password here. So here is the confirm password field. Again, it is binding to the confirm password form control from our form, and the first validation is required, and second is passwords do not match validation. So how this is working? Again, we are referring to the property password mismatch. So which we have set in our service. So let's go to service to see where it is there. So where is that? Sorry, password mismatch. Yeah, here. So if we call this match password method, and inside that, if
we can't. Sorry, we can't see your screen. Maybe in VS Code, I guess. Yeah.
You can see my screen.
Now we can. Now we can. Yeah.
I don't know, but I think there is no. Is there any problem with the network? You are hearing my voice?
Yeah, there's actually a little bit of a problem with the network. I think maybe it's from your end. Like there's a little bit of that loss of connectivity. Yeah.
Config change.
Okay.
Voice config
Okay.
is a problem.
Okay. I didn't hear that. What you said?
The voice config change are in between the. Hello.
Okay. Okay. Voice is breaking.
Breaking in between. Yeah.
I don't know because I am just sitting next to the router. I don't know why this is happening, but
Push letter
the
and off
network
letter
also seems good.
able to properly not able to see it.
Yeah, even I am unable to hear your voice properly now.
Okay.
I am not sure. I am not sure what is the problem. The internet is slow or what?
I guess now there's some
Okay. It
consistency.
seems that internet is a bit slow. Yeah, maybe internet seems a bit slow here because YouTube is taking some time to open. But ideally, this should not happen. I'm not sure because earlier also I have a call in the evening at 8 o'clock and everything seems fine at that time. But okay, let's proceed here and see if you have, if there's any problem, then let me know. Okay, so we are talking about the password mismatch field here. So once you are in this password confirm password field, and if this password mismatch property is set to false, sorry, set to true, then this error will be shown and the validation will fail. So this is being checked in custom validation service, and here is the method match password. It is being called. And if you go to a screen and let's say password I put so let's say if I put some random password 1234 and I go here, it will give me this error. At the same time, if I put 12345, it will give me password does not match error also, because here I have put 1234, here I have put 12345, so password does not match. Now let me put valid password over here, and here, let me put valid password. As soon as I put the valid password, the error is gone. If I delete one character, the error comes back. That password does not match. Now if I click on register, okay, name is required. Let me put that username something. Click on register. You will see this message: form submitted successfully. Check the browser, check the value in browser console. And if you go to the console, you can see here all the values printed. So how this submit button is working? Let's see that. So here we have the register button, and the type of button is submit. This is very important. So if the type of button is submit, this means it will submit the whole form. So once the form is submit, the ng submit method is called. It is a method defined in Angular, and it will call it will invoke our on submit method, which we have defined in our component here on submit method. And inside this we will check if this dot register form dot valid. This means if everything in our form, every control in our form has passed all the validations which we have defined, then it will show an alert and put the value in the console. So this is all about reactive forms. Now we will move to template driven form. If you have any questions at this point of time, you guys can ask regarding reactive form.
So I have a question on where we're using on line 21 to line 27. We are initializing the form on the ng init. So my first question is: does it mean that the validators return observables?
Yes. No. What was a validator? These are the class validators return observable.
In the sense that there's a slide that I saw that you are saying that there is that observable approach that reactive forms use. So and
yes.
yeah. So and like thinking about it, I'd not thought about it before, but I'm asking because it now makes sense why maybe when you continue typing, it can be able to like bring the validations real time. Is that because these validators like use are observables, something like that, maybe?
Yes. So as we type, so your question is, so let's say this is an error, and as I type, the error is gone. So why this happened, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So let's see. If you see this method, required method, this is a static method, and it is always binded to our control. Okay. So this as the name is reactive form, it will react to the changes. So what you said is correct. It is having a reactive approach. So as I type, the value is bind to this particular form control name, and which will go to here, and if I type something, it will see that now the required field has filled, so it will stop showing the error. This will become false, and that's how this span and the error message will also be removed from the screen. So that is how reactive form works. It's follows a reactive approach, and as we type, the form controls, the value of the form control will get updated. So so yeah, so as you see in the slides also, each change, see the last line, each change in the form state return a new state which maintains the integrity of the model between the changes. So whenever I update, it will whenever I change the value, it will update, it will send a new set of model, a new set of data, and then check for all the validation, which is and see if everything is passed, then it will set the value to true, else it will set the value to false.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Then my, my next question is still on the same page. So on reactive forms on the component side, on the component side. So my question will be if how does nesting forms work? Like how if we nest, let's say other fields inside this form, like we use this.fb.group again inside the form. Like how does that work from like from a technical perspective, such that you have a parent group and then another group that is a child of the parent group?
I have not worked on nested forms, so I cannot answer this question to you. If you can look at the official Angular documentation for the forms which I have shared, you might find some thing regarding to nested form over there.
Okay.
So I have not worked with nested forms, so I cannot help you on this.
Okay. So then another question is on line 24.
Okay.
Yeah, in most cases, I see that most articles, I see they have like the validators, the validators inside the array, like in validators.required, then there's a comma, then you add your other validators. So I'm asking in terms of like why is like, so does it mean that there's no difference another validator being outside that array, or it's just more of a design pattern that you have decided to go with?
No, this will take any array. So if you see, there are multiple things. First is validators not required. Okay.
Yeah.
And so if you see another place here, I'm composing a complex validator. Like I'm composing multiple validators into one. And here I have used the array, what you are referring to, right? This
Yeah,
particular
sure.
array.
Yeah.
Yeah. But here I have to call a custom validator method. This method is defined by me. I have to call this explicitly. That is why I have to use this particular approach.
Okay.
This is not something which is defined by Angular. But here, the things are required and email are defined by Angular. So I can directly call and put it inside an array.
Okay. So yeah, that clears out. Yeah,
Okay,
those are my
awesome.
questions. Thank you.
Awesome. So let's go to template driven forms. Let me close this. So if you have understood the this reactive forms, then understanding template driven forms will be very simple. So in template driven forms, as I told you that it is mostly it is mostly dependent on the HTML part, the template part of your code. So here you can see this is the component part. The component part is very simple. Here we have a user model which is of type user. So this is a class which I have created. So earlier in case of reactive form, you saw that we have created the form group in our component. But here we are not going to create any form group. Here we'll be referring to a model. That's why I have created a model. Here it has all the fields which we required. Name, email, username, password, and confirm password. We need 5 fields, so all 5 fields are here. We created a new object inside our component of that particular class. Now go to the HTML. Now in this HTML, you can see we have a form tag, class form, and then I am using a directive, a property register form equals to ng form. So what is this register form? This register form is the name of the form which I am giving. So this is a kind of control accessor, we can say, or the how can I define this? The name of the form, basically you can say. And whatever you put it here, the same value is used to access the fields of the form. So here we are setting it to the ng form. Now here you can see there is something app match password, password confirm password. What is this? We will come back to this in a bit. Let's ignore this for now. And here on ng submit, we are checking if form is valid, register form.form.valid. So here you can see I am using the word register form. It is the same name as of our form, which we have defined it here. So if you go back to my slide, in template driven forms, here I have shared this line: share information across HTML elements using template reference variable. So this is what template reference variable which I am referring to. So here I am setting the reference hash register form to ng form. Now I will be using the name register form to access all the controls of the form. And the word no validate will suppress all the default validation done by HTML tags. So we'll see how that also in action. So the first field I will add. Let me go to the template form here. Here you can see the first field I have added. Let's see how this works. Let's understand the functionality here. So again, label input. The first name is input. In the input, I am using ng model. So I told you that template driven forms use ng model for two-way data binding. So I am using ng model and I am binding it to the name field of our object. Which object? User model object. This user model object we have defined over here. User model, new user, and user model dot name. User model dot name, we are binding the value of the name field. Here you can see again I have used a template reference name as name and I am binding it to ng model. Why I have used a template reference name? So that I can check for the validation error. So here you can see I am using the same name dot touched. So it will check if this particular input field has been touched or not. Then or register form dot submitted. How this register form they will access? Using this particular template reference name. So if this form has been submitted or not, and if this particular name field has required errors. So how this required is coming from here. I am defining inside the template only. So now you can see the difference between reactive forms and template driven form. In case of reactive forms, we have put everything inside a function. So let me open the reactive forms here. Here you can see here we are calling the methods and put like this register form control, and then we are checking the required property, and this has been defined in our component. But in case of template driven form, we are directly using the inbuilt property given by HTML like required and email. So email we will be using next, and this will check if name is required. So it's the same, it will give error. So if you click on let me refresh the page. If you click on register, it will give an error. So put something, this will work. Now we'll add another field, second field, which is email. So here you can see it is also similar to our name field. It is also required, along with it is an email property. So this email is also an HTML control, and it will check if that particular field is our agreeing to all our email name format or not. And here also we have two kind of error check. One is for email and one is for required field. Again, we are setting the template reference for this particular field as email. We'll check if email field is touched or the form is submitted, or this particular email field has required error. Then it will throw email is required. In case of valid email address, it will check if the email has it failed the email type check. If the value entered in the field is not a correct email, it will give you this particular error. So let's check this. If I click outside, it will say enter a valid email address. So I have to use ankit@gmail.com, and that is how it will work. So now this is successful. Now third field is username field. So here you can see something different in the input field. Apart from binding the value to our model user, the property username, I am also using a directive, that is app validate username. So now this also so this is also same as the check we have to do to see if the username is available or not. So if you go back to the slide, you can see that we are using directive for custom validation. So how we are using it, we will see that now. So here I have defined a directive. This is validate username directive. Let's see how this works. So the name of directive is app validate username. This name has been defined over here. Here we have to put the providers array. This async validators. It will these are provided by our Angular Forms module, and this is using validate username directive multi to true. These are some providers which we have provided, and it is implementing validator class. Sorry, validator interface, not class. Validator interface, and this validator interface has one method called validate. It will accept a control of type abstract control, which is the control of our form, and return a promise or an observable. And here I will be calling our function which we have defined previously. So you are familiar with username validator function, same function which we have used earlier. So here this username validator function will be called. It will return true and false based on check if the username is available or not. And similarly, this directive will return the same value to us. So it will return a promise or an observable, and that is how it will check over here. So if we go to username and type Ankit and type outside, it will give me error because the Ankit name is not available. It is already taken. So I have to write something like this, Ankit Sharma. Then this error will be resolved. So let me iterate this once again. So we have defined a custom directive. In the directive, we are implementing an interface called validator. This validator interface has one method called validate, and which will take the parameter of type abstract control. Then we will call our custom method, which is username validator method, which we have defined in our service, custom validation service. This username validator method will return a promise, and it will check if the username is available or not, and based on that it will return the promise, and the same value which it return will be set to our form control over here, and based on that, true or false, again username not available. So you remember username name not available, this particular property we have defined over here. So based on this we will show our error message. Now we'll check next field, which is password field. So in the case of password field, you can see we have the input which is of type password. We are binding it to the password field of our model, our object, and then we are using another directive that is called app password pattern. So this is used to check the pattern of the password. So let's see how this app password pattern directive is working. So again, it is similar to our this username directive which we have seen earlier. The name is defined over here, app password pattern, and it will also implement the validator interface, and then it will implement the method called validate, take the abstract control as an argument, and then call our pattern validator method, and it will return the control. So it will call the pattern validator over here, which will return the validator function. And as we have seen the functionality earlier in case of reactive form, it will check the input and it will match with a regular expression, and then that particular regular expression, if it fails or pass, based on that it will set this invalid password property to true. And that is how, if you check here in this particular span, we are checking if the invalid password property is set or not. Based on that, we are going to show the error message. So if you see this, if I type some random character, move outside, it will give me this particular error because this invalid password property is set to true because our value which we have entered failed the check. Now the last field is this confirm password. So confirm password is same as password field. It is also have type password, and it is bind to the confirm password property of our model, and then we are making it as a required field. Now there is a point on the top of the form which I told that we will visit later. Now it is time to see that. What is this app match password, password confirm password? So now this is very important to understand. So this app match password is a directive which we have defined over here. This particular directive is taking one string array as an input. So the string array will be form controls. It will pass password and confirm password field. How it is passing? Password. This name password is bind to our field over here using template reference name hash password. Similarly, the name confirm password is bind over here using our template reference hash confirm password. So that is how when we use the directive name and then pass the field password and confirm password as an input to it. And then this is called over here, and then again we will implement the validator interface, implement the validator class, and we will call our match password method, which we have already defined. And in the match password method, we have to pass our controls. So match password of 0, which is the password field, match password of 1, which is the confirm password field. So if you go to match password method, this is the same method which we have defined in our service, which is custom validation service here, and it will set the property password mismatch to true or false based on the value if the value in both the fields are matching or not. So based on that, we'll be showing this error message that if password mismatch is set to true, we'll say that password does not match. So if you put some random value here, then random value here, it will say password does not match. So now if I put all the correct values, let's say ankit@gmail.com, username, let's say this, password, then this, and click on register. It will show me a successful message, form successful submit, check the value in browser console. If I open the console, you can see that this is our particular model. So now the thing which I want to highlight here is that we are binding everything to the model, which is user model. And when I am clicking on submit, I am I am displaying this model in our console. So if you go to the template, here you can see that on ng submit. So again, the how submitted button is working, it is same as our reactive forms. So type is submit, which means it will submit the form. And when I click on that button, it will the ng submit method will be invoked, which will call our on submit method. It will check this condition if the register form dot valid. So this means if the form is valid, all the controls in the form has passed all the validation check which we have put, and then call on submit method. And this on submit method is defined over here, which will be called, and it will put the value in the console. So this is how a template driven form will work. So if you guys have any questions, please ask at this point of time.
Yes. Hi, Ankit. So my question
Hello.
will be, when should you use template-driven forms or reactive forms? Like, what are the different case scenarios that you can use for either of them?
Yes. So that is a part of my talk which I will be covering in a few minutes. So if you have any other question, you can ask. Otherwise, I will cover this as a part of the talk.
So
All right, sure.
I have a question, and my question is just based on the approach that I've seen you use. I think it's something that you've done. So I've seen where you are in the front end, like having values that you want to check against. So, and my question will be basically as a front end dev, is it a good practice for you if you're making maybe like a backend request to get those values? As I've seen, you have implemented some debouncing by using some set timeout. So I was asking, is it a good practice to call the backend, or is it good to just to have the data on your application, then use it against the form? Like what have you been preferring?
No, I prefer to call API. See, right now, just for a demo purpose, I have put this. So I have put a comment over here also. If you see the comment, this repository is available on GitHub also. I have put the comment that ideally it should be a service call to the server to search the value from a database. See, in a real world scenario, there are thousands of people who are registering to your website. So you have to make this real time. So at this point of time, you have to have a service call. As you said, debouncing approach. That's why I put a 1 second timer. You might increase the timer if you want to, if you are concerned about the performance issues. But there are some trade-offs which you have to consider, because I know debouncer has some performance issues because it is calling on click every using set timeout. It is calling after every set interval, every fixed interval. but you have to call service, you have to call an API to get the real world data, to the real data. So if you want to see how it is done, I have another application. If you want, I can show you demo, or you can go and see the demo. So this is a website called bookcard.azurewebsite.net. This is one of my project which I have created using Angular and ASP.NET Core. So I will show you. So if you go to register here, in case the name Ankit is already taken. So if I tab, it will give me an error. So I am calling database here. So again, this is an open source project. Maybe I cannot share the link, but you can take a screenshot. Bookcard.azurewebsite.net. You go to there, and you click on this GitHub link. You can easily see the GitHub code of this, and it is also available on my GitHub repository, which is this Ankit Sharma -007 Bookcard. You can go and see that. You can. It's the same. I implemented the same way.
Okay, so then maybe my last question will be on the same side still. If you go back to the code, what are your thoughts on using RxJS in do you think that if I decide, for example, to use RxJS to do something like controls, I'll be overdoing it, or maybe promises tend to have a certain advantage at some point? Yeah.
I don't think this question is related to forms. Are you talking in terms of forms or in general?
Yeah, in terms of it's not related to forms actually. Makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, in general you are asking. Yeah, I understand that. I thought that you were asking that you want to use RxJS with template driven forms. I was also confused there. Okay, so in general, see, RxJS is a very powerful tool. I will say that, and it will make your life very easy. So I will say that you should use as much as possible. But again, RxJS is a kind of dangerous thing also. If you don't use in a proper manner, then it will mess up with your application. So you have to make sure that you are handling your input and your observables correctly. You are destroying all your observables in case of ng on destroy, and you are subscribing to observables in ng on init, not inside constructor. There are some standard practices to be followed basically. So those things you have to follow. So if you follow RxJS correctly, it will give you a lot of power, and it will make your life easier as a developer basically. That's what I will say.
Okay, thank you.
My advice will be go for RxJS. I think you know the documentation rxjx.io. I think you know this.
Yeah.
No, sorry, not this. RxJS .dev or something. Wait, Rx. Wait, let me check. Even I don't know. This one, rxjs-dev firebase-app.com. This is the official documentation. This is a great documentation. You can start with this, and you can easily learn RxJS.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, cool. So moving to the question, what to use. Now that comes the important question. So we have learned about two kind of form, reactive form and template driven form. So now the question comes, which one should I use? Which one should I not? Good. So let me go to this reactive form slide. So if you go by popular opinion, most of the developer feels that reactive is the best form which we have, because reactive forms give you more control to you, more control to developer. You can easily scale the reactive. So if you see the second point, it is robust, scalable, reusable, and easy to test. So this is very important. You can easily scale your application. You can easily add new controls, remove controls. You can easily reuse your method, because we are using functions for doing all the custom validations and all. And most important thing is it is very easy to unit test, because you have methods and you have functions to for doing the validation, and you have control accessor name also. What is the method name? I forget. this register form control method. So you can access all your form controls using that. So in this way, reactive forms will give you a lot of power, and most places people use reactive forms. So that is the way forward. But this next the question comes, then what is the use of template driven form? So template driven form are used when you have very simple approach or very straightforward approach, or a very small forms. Maybe just say you have a very simple login form where you have two fields, username and password, and you are just checking if both are required or not. That's it. Because when you are login, you have to just check username, password, both are required, then send the value to the API. When the API turn true or false, based on that you do the your logic on the front end. So in case of simple forms, small forms, go with template driven form, because it will give you it will be easy for you. But if you have more complex form where you have more requirement and you have to scale your form, or you are using a lot of form in your application, then you want to reuse the method across one form to another, then go for reactive forms. So that is what I can advise you. So I hope I have answered your questions. And with this, I finish my talk. I do not have anything else to share. So thank you all for joining. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. And you can take a screenshot of this field, this slide. It will be very helpful for you. I have mentioned all the resources which you can go and look after this talk, and you can always connect to me on Twitter or LinkedIn. I have put my Twitter account at the bottom right corner, Ankit Sharma _007. You can follow me on Twitter. My DMs are open. If you have any question, feel free to ask. I would be happy to assist if I can get some time. So again, let me reiterate. The first link is a GitHub link of my repo, which we have created here. So let me go there. I will show you here. So here you can see this is the repository, Angular Forms validation. You can see, and there is a very great thing I want to share, that I have written two articles also. So one about reactive form validation, one about template form validation. So what I have talked today, the same things you can find in these articles also, similar things. Everything is explained over here. So you can go there, read it, and you can follow all the steps. It has mentioned all the steps clearly. Step by step procedure is shown in this article. How to create reactive form, how to create a template driven form. Everything is explained clearly. The link is mentioned in my GitHub repo. If you want to see the demo, the link is again mentioned in the GitHub repo. The app is hosted on Heroku, and you can go and play around with the application. This and you can see all the validation in the action. And that's it from my end. Thank you all for joining. And
I think there's someone who was raising their hand. Thomas?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Please tell me.
Yeah, there's also another library called Angular Formally. So
Angular?
Formally.
I am not sure. Angular Formally? I have no idea.
I'm not able to type here, but
This one? Okay.
Yeah, that one.
Okay.
So I usually use that for my project, and I thought
you can see this line.
Yeah, there's another version which is maintained. This one is an older version.
Okay.
I usually use this. I thought you had seen it before. I just needed a comparison between reactive forms and this library.
I have not used Angular formally. This is the first time I'm hearing about that. Sorry, I cannot help you on this. I have no idea of this.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. If anybody has any question, feel free to ask. Okay, I will take this as a no, and I think we are good to close. So I hope this session has been recorded and you will share on YouTube and maybe share on the social media also and tag me. And it will be good for me also to share with other people who might have missed this session.
Yeah, sure.
And also I don't know, but maybe you can put these links in the description of the this YouTube video. I cannot share the link for some reason, but it would have been good if I can share the link.
Sure, we'll definitely do that in the tweets that we're going to share with everyone.
Or maybe I will drop you a mail. Anyway,
Okay.
yeah, I will send all of this in the mail right now after this call. I will send all this site in a mail. You can share with all the attendees, and you can put this in the YouTube description also.
Okay, sure, no problem.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Should I disconnect now?
Yeah, I just want to do some closing remarks.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you everyone for coming. Thank you, Ankit, for taking your time to take us through Angular forms, reactive forms, and template-driven forms. It was pretty informative, and we're able to learn a few things that I personally wasn't able to grasp at first. But after you've explained further using the code, going back and forth, it actually made sense. I'll say a big thanks on behalf of the Angular Kenya team. That is Ivy, Kelvin, Tabby, and I. I'd like to say a big thank you. Also, a big thank you from the whole of the Angular Kenya here in Kenya. I'd like to say thank you for also taking that time. I know it's pretty late, maybe on your side, but we are grateful that you took that time to actually take us through all this.
Yeah.
So everyone, Ankit is going to be with us very soon. We'll share the details with everyone through Twitter, and we'll definitely tag you, Ankit, so they can share with the rest.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, we're going to make the video public very soon after we get the links up and running, and also we'll share the links for the GitHub repos and the demos.
Yeah, that would be helpful. So I think this is the first Angular Kenya webinar, if I am not wrong.
Yes.
Yeah, that is awesome. That is awesome. You guys are doing great work, and I am lucky to have the first speaker at Angular Kenya.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, there will be. Yeah, I have seen the speaker lineup. I also talked to Santosh. He's my good friend. He's also speaking, I think, next week, and a lot of great talks are coming. I have seen the session list. That is great, and I am quite happy that you guys have started in Angular Kenya. It is very good that you have started the Angular community in Kenya. That's awesome. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
You lost NGConf very soon.
Yeah. In Kenya, yes.
What you said? I didn't listen that.
NGConf will be in Kenya very soon.
NGConf is in Kenya. That is awesome.
we'll plan with the Angular team sometime to come, I think, in the future.
Yeah, but currently, given the current situation, I think it's difficult to do in near future. But let's hope for the best.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. So as you said, soon I will be joining with another talk. So all the attendees, I request all the attendees to join other talks of Angular Kenya, and also my next talk, which will be about Angular and Firebase, and how to create a full stack application using Angular and Firebase. So see you guys in next talk, and bye, and thank you guys for having me as a speaker.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.